What's up guys, Big Joe. So for today's video, I'm gonna be giving you guys some tips. So say you're stuck at home with some 5-pounders or super lightweight. I'm gonna give you guys some concepts that you guys can work with in order to keep growing your arms, all right? All right guys, so I say all right a lot, so we're gonna play a little game. Let's keep track how many times I say all right. So these same concepts obviously can be applied to the gym. And obviously if you have access to heavier weights, that's always gonna be your best option. But this is more so if you're just stuck with some weights at home and wanna get a good arm workout in, this is gonna be giving you guys some tips as to how you guys can achieve that. All right, so follow along if you're interested. All right guys, tip number 1, so hold isometrics. So isometrics are a great way to sprinkle in to your program, especially if you're stuck with something small. I'm gonna be using 10-pounders here for my demonstration purposes, okay? So say we're doing just regular curls, we'll go for like a set of 15 here. 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Repetition. Find the place where your bicep is stressed the most. That's anywhere between about 45 to about 90 degrees here, and squeeze your arms as hard as possible, okay? So I'm squeezing my fingertips, my forearms, my biceps here, and I'm maximally trying to contract that muscle as hard as I can, okay? So anywhere between 10 to about 30 seconds, you're holding, you're squeezing tight, 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 tight. And good. After that isometric, just go ahead and drop and relax, all right? So tip number 1, throw in some isometrics at the end of each set, okay? You could also play around with it, maybe even start with some isometrics before, and then do your set, and then throw in another isometric hold there, okay? So number 1, isometrics. Tip number 2 is going to be varying the tempo, okay? So if we're stuck at home with those small weights and trying to figure out how we're gonna actually get a good workout out of this, is vary the tempo. Especially if you're somebody who is trying to put size onto your arms, slow down the eccentric portion. So eccentric portion is any time we're just lowering the weight. So back to our first example, we're gonna go 15 curls. This time, instead of just busting them out at that same tempo that we were doing there, try to throw in about 3 seconds up and 5 seconds down on each one of these repetitions, okay? So we're gonna go for another set of 15 here. 1, 2, 3, and on the way down, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1. Yeah, it's gonna get pretty brutal here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
So that's tip number 2, so try to vary the tempo. Once again, especially if we're trying to put some size onto those arms, slow down while you're lowering, okay? So once again, that's just my example with the biceps. Anytime that we're doing whatever, tricep extensions, same thing. As we're slowly lowering, that's when we want to slow down the tempo. That's where you're gonna incur the most muscle damage, hence gonna be growing those arms a little bit bigger each time. All right guys, so tip number 3. So another thing you guys can do instead of just a superset, because most likely if we are using light weights, supersets might not be enough. You could do something called a tri-superset, okay? So mind-blowing, right? You're gonna have, instead of just 2 back-to-back exercises, you're doing 3. All right, so for our example again, for our biceps, say for example, we're doing regular curls, go for something like a set of 10. 10. So hitting that one part of our bicep and then switching to something like a hammer curl. So switching positions of what part of our bicep we're hitting. 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And then 10. Good. And then finishing with something like a reverse curl, okay? So getting even those forearms involved, and then again, getting a different part of those biceps again. 3.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Good. So there you have it. Tip number 3, try something like a tricep. You could get as creative as possible with that. Vary even the repetitions that you do of each one. Maybe start with the higher repetitions with your most advantageous movements, so something like 20 reps, and then going into about 15, and then 10 reps, all right? So the variations on that are pretty limitless. All right, guys, there you have it. So those are 3 different variations that you guys can spice up your training with, especially if you're somebody who's stuck at home with small weights but still want a great workout. So that's holding isometrics, varying the tempo, and then try supersets, okay? So this can be done with any movements or any body parts that you guys can think of. Just chose to show you some arm variations there, but those are 3 different ways to vary your training, especially if you're stuck at home with just small weights, all right? So let me know how you guys like this video, and like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
All right.